What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. My name is Marc Farzetta. So much to get into today. We got the Flyers to jump into. We got the Sixers to get into a little bit. Steph Curry set some kind of record. I'm sure you've heard about it by now, but we'll get into that. And we will also get into the cannoli crisis in South Philadelphia. That's right. We got all that and more. Now, first off, let me just say this. Let me just say this. Let me see if this is working yet. So we did the show. We started the show actually on time, if you can believe it. And I was doing the thing. I was doing the show, and I was talking and stuff. And then I get a call from PJ, and he's like, "Stop it! Stop what you're doing! Stop what you're doing!" And I'm like, "What's happening there, fella?" And he goes, we're down. We're not on YouTube for whatever reason. We're having issues, and YouTube didn't pick us up. So we are restarting the show. I see some people in the chat have already acknowledged that, and I just want to make sure. Yeah, there we are. Okay. All right. Here we are. Nice to see you again. Yeah, I got the thumbs up from PJ. All right, cool. So, yeah, nice to see you. I hope you guys had a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Paul Hudrick will be on the show today, talk all things 76ers when it comes to why today is an important day in the NBA. A lot of the league becomes available because of the incoming free agents can be traded. Paul will explain it a lot better than I can. So that opens up a whole list of cast of characters, really, that could be traded for Ben Simmons or involved in a Ben Simmons trade. Interesting. So Paul will explain that to us coming up in just a minute. To the people saying that we pulled a Rager earlier in the show, not our fault, but we got the problem fixed. And here we are. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. Flyers get a huge, gorgeous 6-1 victory over the New Jersey Devils. That's right. The Devils, a team that has had their number time and time again in recent history. The Flyers are able to take it to them to the tune of a 6-1 victory. Travis Sanheim, of all people, getting things going for the Flyers, burying the puck in the back of the net on a goal scorer's goal. It was a pretty goal. It was a gorgeous goal. Let me preface this Flyers conversation with something here. Cam Atkinson had a hat trick last night. That's awesome. Carter Hart had a 26 save performance. Nice to see that. I mentioned Travis Sanheim's goal. That's great. Hockey players are very interesting to me because they can have this great performance, this amazing performance, hat trick performance in front of the hometown crowd and their new team and all that stuff, like Cam Atkinson did last night. And then after the game, when he had such an exciting moment, he treats it with this kind of response when he's asked about his hat trick.
It's always good to score goals. I think that's one of the assets that I bring to this team, and I take a lot of pride in that. And, usually if someone scores a hat trick, you better win that game, and it means you're doing the right things. But I think overall our team played really solid tonight, and, another stepping stone in the right direction.
Okay. All right. Is he done? He's done. 3 goals. Each one prettier than the last. And you gotta work hard. It's good to score goals. Thank you, Cam Atkinson. But nonetheless, does not take away from just a great performance overall from this team. A 6-1 win in front of the hometown crowd, something they really hadn't seen for quite some time. And Mike Yeo, Flyers head coach, came out after the game and also said that they wanted to play this game with an edge against a team like the Devils, who, again, had their number. And that's what they did in this game. They played with an edge. They hustled to the pucks. They got into the corners. Ristolainen was able to break up a great play at the end of the first period. And after the game, had no recollection of it, apparently, but he really helped the momentum stay in the Flyers' favor. Here's good old Ristolainen after the game.
You banged some bodies tonight and got a couple of assists, but that play where you broke up the 2-on-1 kept them from getting momentum there at the end of the period. How important was that play?
Which play?
When there was a 2-on-1, you came back and got the guy?
Oh, I don't even remember that, but I guess it was a good play.
We're having fun. We're having fun with a 6-1 victory, aren't we, folks? We're having a great time. It was a great play, and he did have a hustle play there, and that's what you want to see, especially. It was before the Flyers really had the game in hand by any means, end of the first period, and they were able to attack, and they did that throughout the entire game. They were able to crash the net. They got a couple of crazy goals. The Braun goal, like if you watch that Braun goal last night, I mean, you watch that play and tell me you didn't think Keaton Thompson D2 knuckle puck time, because that's what it looked like, a knuckle puck from the blue line. And somehow it beat Blackwood, and I believe it was the third goal of the game for the Flyers. So it was a nice little shot there from the blue line. A little knuckle puck time. Throw it way back in the way back machine. Now here's the deal. Flyers have won 3 in a row. It's their season-long winning streak, so there you go. Flyers bring some of that the piping hot offense home with them, which was great, and it results again in a win, which is great. They got a rival like the Devils off their back, which is nice, and now they face the 6-win Montreal Canadiens tomorrow. Dear Flyers, please don't play down to your opponent. Please don't do that thing that a lot of teams do when they're riding a hot streak. Look, 3 games isn't a piping hot streak by any means, but for the Flyers who had lost 10 in a row, yeah, it's pretty hot. For maybe other teams, it's lukewarm. For the Flyers, it's hot to the touch. So don't do the thing where you face a 6-win team like the Habs and wet the bed. Let's just not do that. Let's keep the good vibes going. Something else I thought was interesting after this game, with Mike Yeo as the head coach, Cam Atkinson was also asked about what's different from the last time they played this team, the Devils, to now. And he talked about basically understanding things as a teammate. Basically, it comes down to chemistry. Basically, it comes down to that thing that we don't really ever want to talk about, which is that little intangible, that thing that, it really has no rhyme or reason to it. It's not some great play design. It's not some great strategy. It's all about mindset. And for whatever reason, Mike Yeo takes over. You see the offense start clicking. They get these 3 wins in a row. Hey, look, is it a complete about face for the Flyers? No, obviously not. Do they look like a different hockey team now? They absolutely do. It's up to them to prove that they can sustain this type of success. And that's not obviously winning out the rest of the season or anything crazy like that. But this type of effort, bringing it every single night, smart heads-up hockey. That third Cam Atkinson goal was smart heads-up hockey. Both by himself, going to the net, keeping control of the puck, finding Claude Giroux in the back of the net, behind the net, and then Claude Giroux circling around to be able to get Cam Atkinson with his stick on the ice going to the net for that third goal. That's all you need. And occasionally, you know what else you need? You need a couple of bounces, too. When we talked about Kevin Hayes' first goal against the Vegas Golden Knights, that was a situation where the goaltender was in the right place at the right time, yet Kevin Hayes was still able to deposit the net deposit the puck in the back of the net. That's what you want to see. That just lets you know that, you're going to start getting the bounces. All of a sudden, fortune is going to start to favor you a little bit, and it certainly did. And no better example of that than really the Braun goal, where it was an absolute knuckle puck from the point. So those types of things are the things you want to see, and hopefully the good vibes keep on coming for the Philadelphia Flyers again tomorrow night. Looking to see that in the not-too-distant future, so let's hope that happens. Sixers back in action tonight, 7 o'clock tip-off against the Miami Heat. The Heat come to town with a slightly better record, 16 wins on the season than the Sixers have right now. Sixers obviously coming off a really tough loss against the Memphis Grizzlies. Paul Hudrick and I will get into that coming up in just a second. And ladies and gentlemen, your Philadelphia Eagles are fighting for their playoff lives, and it all starts up again, I should say, on Sunday. Still uncertain as to who will be under center for the Washington football team. Still uncertain when it comes to what exactly this team is. Looks like Jalen Hurts will be back as your starting quarterback. Looks like Jason Kelce will be back as your starting center, despite getting injured against the Jets. This team, I think, has it in them to make this a very exciting December and early January. I had talked earlier in the week about the possibility of flexing the Eagles into this Sunday night game. Obviously, that has not happened. It's going to stay with the Bucks and the Saints as the Sunday night football game. But I know that NBC wanted that game. I can tell you NBC wanted to put the Eagles in prime time, which sounds bonkers to me, to flex out of anything that Tom Brady's in that Buccaneers offense, and instead go with the Eagles, which they obviously did not do. But I know that they wanted that game, and that didn't happen. A lot has to go right for teams to get a flex game, and obviously they didn't go right for the network in terms of NBC's favor this time around. But it is interesting to me just to know that that was a game that was wanted by a major network in the most watched football broadcast that we have in the United States in Sunday Night Football. That is interesting to me. Here's what I would like to see, just to go through this week. One is everyone healthy, everyone come out of the bye week, knock off that rust. We talked about it yesterday with Hugh, where he talked about the first couple of plays you have, first couple of series you have coming back from the bye week. You feel a little lackadaisical, feel a little like you got to get back into it a little bit, need that adrenaline to kick in, and then it finally does it, and you're good from there. I would love to see some kind of old school Andy Reid era first play bomb down the field just to get everybody going again. Like, even just to get everybody on edge again. I would love to see that type of thing. Like, all right, boys, welcome back. We're also going to get to see what Nick Sirianni is like coming back from the bye. This is something that we all know that Andy Reid went through a great stretch after the bye. He's incredible. He's lost like twice maybe after a bye week in his career. He only lost, I believe, his last season in Philadelphia after the bye week. So he only lost once. He's incredible after a bye. What's Nick Sirianni like after a bye week? How is he going to get this team focused again? How's he going to get this team energized again? How's he going to make sure that there is no rust coming back from the bye? I look forward to seeing how all that plays out. We'll hear from the coach a little bit later in the week, see how he addresses all these issues, if you will, going forward. But if I have to bet right now whether or not the Eagles are making the playoffs, I am betting on them to make the playoffs. And that includes possibly going through a split with Washington down the stretch here. But if Washington's very banged up, which they very well could be, that's just an easier opponent. An easier opponent just got easier for the Eagles. As we knew the second half of the season was going to be anyway. Well, imagine Washington now down to their third string quarterback and now to a defensive line that's even more banged up than it was that you thought going into last week. So I'll take it. I was looking at some of the percentages. Eagles have like a 38% chance of making the playoffs right now. Minnesota, who has the Bears twice, one including Monday night, coming up this coming Monday. They got the Bears twice, once against the Bears this Monday night, and then 2 weeks later they got the Bears again. Vikings only have about a 28% chance of making the playoffs, so that's good. They're another 6-7 team. They do hold the tiebreak over the Falcons and the Eagles, which is interesting. But the Eagles right now, they're not in a situation where they control their own destiny per se. They still need a lot of help. But you know how you help that? You help yourself with piling some wins. Win out, you're looking at a very good shot. It could go up to about an 80 to 85% chance of making the playoffs. Control that. Control what you can control, like winning, and the Eagles should make themselves a playoff team in the first year of Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni together as coach and quarterback in the NFL. Let me tell you about my good friend Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Ladies and gentlemen, do what I do. When it comes to all your big jewelry purchases, when it comes to the beautiful, perfect holiday gift at the perfect price, go to Steven Singer Jewelers. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, I hate StevenSinger.com. People always said, why do people hate this guy? I was like, you know who really hates these guys? The other jewelers hate Steven Singer. You know why? Because he sets you up at the perfect price every single time. So when you walk in, the discount's already there. You don't have to feel like, all right, how do I get this salesman down to the price that I want? No, it's already at the perfect price. You're good to go. Forget about that haggling. And how about this? For the holidays, Anita Diamond Stud Earrings, just under $270. Just under $270. Anita Diamond Stud Earrings. Perfect gift. You open that gift up for the missus. You open that gift up for that special someone in your life. You get the gasp. You got me diamonds. That's what my wife sounds like. I don't know about you guys. That's what you get from Steven Singer. The perfect price every single time. Need a diamond stud earrings. Just absolutely gorgeous, flawless, near colorless, sparkling. The perfect price set every time at Steven Singer Jewelers. So do what I do and trust Steven Singer Jewelers. One place, one price. Always fast and free shipping at Steven Singer Jewelers. So make sure you guys check that out. You guys, I'm looking at the comments already. You guys are fantastic. Coming up in our morning rush today, we're going to let you hear from Steph Curry. We're also going to let you hear one more thing about Cam Atkinson, about some other things that changed with the Flyers from the last time they played the Devils to now. And we'll also talk about a cannoli crisis in South Philadelphia. But right now, without further ado, there's a lot going on in the NBA today as far as trades, possibly. So Paul Hudrick of Liberty Ballers will break it all down for us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And joining us right now on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line, he's back, and he looks fairly similar to the last time we talked to him, which was about a month ago. Paul Hudrick from Liberty Ballers. What's up, Paulie?
Marc, just living the dream over here, man. How are you?
Do you have the man bun today? My audience wants to know.
It's there. Yeah, it's there.
Let's get this out of the way. That was the first order of business, and this is the only time I'll put that young man second. Congratulations, Dad!
Thank you.
The proud father of a handsome as hell young man, Miles. Congratulations there, Mr. Hudrick.
Thank you. We are absolutely over the freaking moon. So excited to have him, and yeah, it's been the longest and shortest 2 weeks of my entire life, it feels like. Actually, it'll be 3 weeks coming up very soon here. So
wow.
Yeah, time is like flying and standing still at the same time. But it's been incredible. It's so awesome. And yeah, we're ridiculously tired and ridiculously happy.
I'm just happy you literally made me another basketball guest, and I'll talk to him in a couple of months. We'll talk about maybe the trade deadline with him, and we'll get his takes on it.
That's all he wants for Christmas is the jersey of the player they get for Ben Simmons. That's all he wants.
Look how what a tease. All right, hey, we'll get to that. We'll get to that whole Ben Simmons drama in a second there. But I have to ask you this question because I want to start it off with this because I still can't believe what the hell I was watching the other night against the Grizzlies. I started the show yesterday with bring it in, folks. Bring it in for a hug. If you watched that fourth quarter and you had no money on the game whatsoever and you watched it simply because you love your 76ers and you'll watch no matter what, bring it in because that was gross. Literally, Doc Rivers ended his press conference, which was all of like 90 seconds with, I guess you guys probably don't have a lot of questions. Let's go watch football or something. And I'm like, he's pretty much got it there. What the hell happened against the Grizzlies?
Well, first of all, to be honest, I took Doc's advice. I was like, oh, man, there is a football game on. I should probably just flick the channel here. And I did. It was a heck of an end to that game, so I'm glad I did. Thanks, Doc. But, yeah, I mean, look, when your two best offensive players get scratched, one a half hour before the game, the other literally right before tip, that leads to disaster 95% of the time. Like, that's not something that, like, if you had a day's notice that you were going to be missing both guys, maybe that makes a slight difference. And on top of that, I know they don't have John Morant right now, but the Grizzlies have been one of the hottest teams in the NBA. I think they're now 8 of 9 they've won since Shaw's been out. Mm-hmm. They are playing excellent. So, it was just a combination of so many things that just led to a disastrous game. No Joel Embiid, no Seth Curry. That kills you offensively, really kills you defensively too without Joel Embiid in the middle. And you saw that it felt like the Grizzlies had a free throw, like a free throw line at times, and they didn't do a very good job defending the 3-point line either. They turned the ball over a ton. I mean, the only two bright spots were Tyrese Maxey and Charles Bassey. That's it. It seemed like everyone else, they look slow, they look sluggish, and it just looked like they didn't want to be there. And I guess they didn't want to be there. And it's just, it is what Doc said too. To start off the presser, it's a burn the tape game. And we put in our Liberty Baller Slack channel. I said, all right, recap's up. Now let us never speak of this game ever again. So that's where we're at Liberty Ballers.
That's great management out of you. That's great management. The last thing I want to say about that game, because we will burn the tape. Look, I hate piling on a guy. We know that Tobias Harris is a max contract player because that's a statement of fact. Whether or not he's worthy of being a max contract player, I think, is also a statement of fact to say, no, he is not. Is he ever going to develop I say develop. He's not a kid, obviously, but is he ever going to be a type of guy you could rely on to be consistent offensively when you have guys out of the lineup that are normally your big scorers?
Well, he is what he is. I mean, honestly, he really is. But at the same time, last year during the regular season, he was pretty damn good.
Oh, yeah, he was, yeah.
I would argue he should have been an all-star last year. So to see, and look, and this is not, to make it very abundantly clear, he is a near max player, technically not a max. I know it's semantics, but near max player, he's not playing anywhere near a max player, flat out. And he needs to be. When you're making that money, when you're relied upon that heavily, you need to be that guy. These aren't excuses. These are just things that I like, reasons perhaps to why he is not playing as well as he should be. One, in and out of the lineup. He's a rhythm player. He's a rhythm kind of guy. So to be in and out of the lineup, to have different other guys in and out of the lineup, I think that's messed with him a little bit. And I don't think he's ever felt comfortable this season at all. So that's that's one thing I think is still. And then two, I think he's like health-wise, I think he's been like legitimately really sick. I think COVID hit him hard. And then from what I understand, the illness that he suffered after COVID was maybe even worse. So he's not operating probably at 100% right now. And then I'd say the other thing, Mark, and I know some people don't want to hear this, but he's a guy that has traditionally played well with Ben Simmons in the lineup. Part of that is transition. Tobias Harris is a very good transition player. You see Tobias not shoot well from three. One of Tobias Harris's favorite shots is Ben Simmons going full speed ahead, 100 miles an hour down the floor in transition, and then Tobias Harris hitting little trail three-pointers. That's one of his favorite shots. It's not there right now. So I think, with all of that said, it's Tobias Harris's success shouldn't be contingent upon Ben Simmons being in the lineup or Joel Embiid being in the lineup. Tobias Harris, to your point, on a night like Monday against the Grizzlies, he's got to be the best player on the court because he's getting paid to be the best player on the court on either team. So he has to be that. He has to step up. I think there are reasons to believe that, the struggles aren't going to be all season long and that he can be the guy that he at least was last season, but he's got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Ben Simmons, as you mentioned him a couple times already, give me the goods, Hudrick. I know you basketball insiders are holding out on all of us. What's going to happen here? And first, let's just get this out of the way. Why is Wednesday, December 15th, such a big deal in the eyes of the trades going on in the NBA?
Right. So the long and short of it is on December 15th, players that were signed this past offseason are now eligible to be traded. The reason why that's significant is I don't know the exact numbers. I think Bobby Marks from ESPN might have had it. Like 60% of the league was available to be traded before December 15th. After December 15th, it's like 80% of the league.
Okay.
So basically, you're just throwing way more players in the pool. Now, those players maybe aren't necessarily guys that are going to be available for Ben Simmons or that you'd want in a Ben Simmons trade. But when you're talking NBA and you're talking matching salaries and you're talking all these moving parts in this Rubik's Cube from hell that is the NBA CBA, it just makes the pool larger and it makes it easier to get a little bit more creative. I know Woj had mentioned, the possibility of 3 and 4 team trades. I think that's given Daryl Morey's history, the guy who orchestrated the most complicated trade in NBA history, simply to get Robert Covington to play center for him when he was in Houston. Like, I would not be surprised if this winds up being. It's not going to be 1-for-1. Like, it's not going to. It's just not. I can't imagine a scenario where that happens. This is going to be a complicated trade. There's going to be multiple moving parts. Who they get in return, I have no clue. But I think it's going to be a very complicated trade. And it being December 15th, it gives Daryl Morey more flexibility, gives him more options, and just more teams and more players he can work with.
Do you have a scenario in your head that is like what you're mentally preparing for? Like, let's say that Dame Lillard is 1,000% off the table. What's the plausible and very possible trade that you would be happy with in a return for Ben Simmons?
So it really runs the gamut because
we know that there's a million options out there, but
right.
like what do you have your heart set on right now? From a professional standpoint, like 2 or 3 trades that are out there right now that you think would be the best case scenario and realistic case scenario, I guess.
If there is any possibility that the Oklahoma City Thunder would listen on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that would be a guy that would be very high on my list. Now, there's no indication that they are. Zach Lowe, I think, had mentioned from ESPN, over the summer that maybe they perhaps don't view him as a franchise guy or whatever. They did sign into an extension, so that might goes against that a little bit, but at the same time, that doesn't mean they won't trade him. Now, some people might say, well, why the hell would Oklahoma City do that? If I'm going to get in Sam Presti's head, the man who has accumulated more draft picks than Sam Hickey could even dream of, you have a player of Ben Simmons who is still 25 years old, still under contract, and has star potential. Get him into Oklahoma City, where no one cares and no one's watching, have him show out for the next year, and in a year from now, you could probably turn around and unload him for multiple picks. So it kind of goes to it, they have a very talented young point guard in Josh Giddey, who's also an Australian, by the way. You have to ask yourself too, if you're Sam Presti, do Gilgeous Alexander and Giddey, is that a combination that's going to work in the long term? And if the answer is no, perhaps this scenario works out better, where you get Ben Simmons in there, and either you keep him because he looks really good next to Giddey, or you look to move him in a year because he will have, you see what he's done. Like, he got what Sam Presti did with Chris Paul, what Sam Presti did with Al Horford. Like, he's getting these players, they're showing out while they're there, and then he's turning around and getting these, extremely good assets for them. Mm-hmm. So I could see that as a possibility. Another guy, there's the word is that the Pelicans are still trying to make the playoffs for some stupid reason. While Zion looks like he's not going to play a game this year,
right?
But like a guy like Brandon Ingram, I think is somewhat realistic.
Okay,
I really like Brandon Ingram as a scorer, as a guy who can just get you a bucket. I really like. A little bit of a weird fit perhaps with Tobias Harris and even maybe Joel Embiid, because all three of those guys love them some mid-range jumpers. So maybe that's not the most perfect fit, but I'd be willing to take a look and see what that appears to be.
Well,
now,
on that note, real quick, what about not just him fitting here, Ingram fitting here in Philadelphia, but Simmons fitting there in New Orleans with Zion?
Right. There is a world where it makes sense and a world where it doesn't. Because I could see those two actually being like a really good kind of pick and roll partnership. I could kind of see that being because Zion is actually willing to shoot, and he's not a terrible shooter when he's when he's healthy, and he's a really good scorer. So perhaps that balance, they could make that work. And if Zion elevates his game defensively, those two could be a really dangerous pair defensively. So, I would say that Ben Simmons just raises the floor more than Brandon Ingram does for them. For what they need a boost defensively big time, and I think Ben Simmons can provide that. So that's where maybe that would make sense to them.
Okay.
And maybe accelerate their timeline a little bit. Who knows? And then the other thing, if we're talking about like right now, what I think is realistic right now, I've said this kind of, I think all summer when we talk, Mark, if I have to take something, a Spurs package with, DeJounte Murray as a centerpiece. Mm-hmm. And if you look at what's funny too, if you look at DeJounte Murray's numbers right now, they are basically Ben Simmons numbers with some threes sprinkled in and better free throw shooting. And he plays great defense. So I would certainly entertain a package that's, Murray, perhaps Keldon Johnson. If it's that, I would be very interested in that. And I would do that right now if the Spurs were interested. I don't know that they are because Murray is still ascending offensively. So I don't know that they would view Simmons as, but I think what teams are going to try to, or what GMs are going to try to talk themselves into, is that Ben Simmons was a number 1 overall pick. He was, looked at as a possible generational talent. And if you're the Spurs, you think to yourself, I get him in here with Greg Popovich, and maybe Greg Popovich can get that out of him, can get that star potential, that guy out of him. And maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but that might be a good swing for that organization, because how good are they going to be with DeJounte Murray as their best player? Probably not any, probably no better than what they are. If you bring in Ben Simmons and Popovich can get more out of him, perhaps that elevates you. Maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does. But all that to say too, like those are the ones that are kind of reasonable right now. I also don't think it's crazy to say maybe you wait a little bit. Maybe you wait to see what happens with Bradley Beal and the Wizards. He had some interesting quotes the other day talking about how he wants to be a little selfish perhaps and is not signing his extension yet. Those are some interesting comments, and that team is starting to really come back down to earth. You look at the Boston Celtics; they are kind of a mess. I mean, they beat the Bucks the other night, but that's a pretty messy situation. Mm-hmm. Perhaps Jaylen Brown becomes available at some point. So I don't think it's necessarily the worst strategy to wait until closer to the deadline to see if some of these bigger fish come loose. But again, if a good deal comes along now, certainly you'll explore it and possibly take it.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things to come out of all this right now is that Daryl Morey is basically having the whole idea, the whole plan, playing into his plan, which is, look, all of a sudden these teams are calling me about Ben Simmons. How about this, huh? So I love that. Last one I just want to throw to you. You mentioned Bradley Beal, which is one that I'd be in favor of. A little bit of a volume shooter, though. 19 shots a game is pretty much what he's averaging right now for around 21 points a game. But Sacramento Kings, we've talked about Buddy Hield before. We've talked about Halliburton before. We've talked about De'Aaron Fox before. first of all, overall, that trade package or, a combo of that. And also De'Aaron Fox right now versus Tyrese Maxey. Similar players, similar styles. Maxey grows into that eventually. Where do you have that at?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you from people I've talked to, I don't think the Sixers really have any interest in De'Aaron Fox. I don't think it's a guy that they view as a player that they would move for Ben Simmons. And I think part of it is just they don't see that like they value Simmons more than Fox.
Okay.
The other part of it is I think you're hitting that nail on the head where Maxey is sort of in that mold, but I think Maxey's going to be better, quite frankly. I think Maxey already is showing growth as a shooter, and I think Maxey's already a better defender than De'Aaron Fox is. Like, I flat out. De'Aaron Fox, no question, is an explosive player, is an exciting player. Last year came really close to making an all-star team. He's looked bad this year. I mean, he's looked really bad. And again, is not a good defender. And yeah, if I had my choice right now between those two guys, I'm picking Tyrese Maxey.
I love it.
So that's why to me, I don't think that makes sense. Like I know from people I've talked to, I know that they're not really interested in De'Aaron Fox, and I think they're right to not be interested in De'Aaron Fox. I don't think that's a guy that I would entertain. Now, again, if it gets to the point where we get closer to the trade deadline, and none of these big fish, none of that's coming to fruition, and none of these big deals that you want, but the Sixers are really competitive and they might have a shot, to take one of the higher seeds and maybe make a run. And you feel like, all right, we have to do something. We have to make some type of move to improve this team and not just have Ben Simmons sitting on the sideline. If you look at Sacramento and, Harrison Barnes, Buddy Hield, I don't love that, but I think that makes them. I think that would make the Sixers a better team. I do.
It's certainly more deep, yeah.
Yeah, and I think Buddy Hield is actually an improved player. I think he's looked pretty good this year, and you throw him in the mix here with Joel Embiid, that really intrigued. The guy takes 10 threes a game. The Sixers need a guy who wants to take 10 threes a game.
Yeah, really.
That's a great thing that they could use. And then a guy like Harrison Barnes is having a great season. And he's a more willing three-point shooter than, say, Tobias Harris. So to have those two guys, I think, could make you a better basketball team. Now, that to me, that's like again, if we have nothing else, if there's nothing else out on the table, and we just need something to try to improve this team right now, that package with picks is something I might consider.
What do you make of the RJ Barrett idea from the Knicks?
Not into it.
Okay. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Good. Listen, I'm not crazy. All right.
I like RJ Barrett. I think he's going to be a pretty good player, but if the goal is to win a championship, if you're trying to become a better team right now, I don't think that helps you all that much, especially, you want to space the floor, and RJ Barrett's not a floor spacer. He's not a great shooter. So that's, there are things about him I like. If you're getting a bunch of picks with him, maybe, or you're getting another player that can help you right now, maybe. But to me, that's not something that I would entertain right now.
Last one for you has to do with the modern day Sixers, not potential future Sixers. Are we done with the whole Danny Green and the starting lineup thing? That's now Matisse Thybulle's job until further notice, right?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Here's what so when I look at that situation, I look at it a couple different ways. One, I think starting Matisse Thybulle and putting him on the best perimeter player to start the game is a good move. Because you're getting off to a better start defensively. It helps you kind of get into the flow of the game a little bit better. So from that standpoint, I like that. The other thing is, I would say, I still like Danny Green an awful lot. I think he's still a really effective player. I think he's really important to this team. I think his leadership is huge, and I still think he can play.
I agree. I agree with all that.
Bringing him off the bench and lessening his role, too, on his 34-year-old legs, which have had multiple injuries the last couple of years, perhaps it is a way to preserve him so that you're getting more effective minutes. Maybe you're playing him less, but those minutes are more effective. If Doc were to decide to do that, I'd be on board. I think it could help the team. I think it could help Matisse grow and mature more into that role as like that defensive stopper. And I think it could help Danny kind of prolong his career and and kind of preserve him for bigger minutes and bigger moments.
I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, here's the thing, and I was getting an argument with somebody about this on social media the other day. The thing that, like, clearly Danny Green has over Matisse Thybulle is the three-point shot, without question. But Matisse Thybulle also crashes the boards. He gets to the net. He attacks the rim on offense as well. So although the three-point game is not there, I never see Danny Green streak into the rim like I do Matisse Thybulle. So at least that's there as part of his offensive game. True, defensively, he's billion miles ahead of his game offensively. But that's one thing he does that Danny Green does not do.
Sure. I will say this, though. A couple things, actually, they're like sneaky little things that kind of aren't little things when you're talking about the Sixers, when you're talking about playing with a guy like Joel Embiid. One, Danny Green really, really understands spacing extremely well and moves without the ball like as good as any player in the league. That's not even an exaggeration. There is literally a cut called the Danny Green cut because it's his thing. Like that where he spaces out and backs up into the corner. Like that's his cut. That's how like good he is off the ball and understanding movement and understanding spacing. The other thing, entry passes. For some reason, this team sucks at entry passes. They have the best offensive big man, the best post player in the league, and they suck at entry passes. But Danny Green is very good at that.
Damn it.
And again, that's a small thing, but when you're talking about a guy like Joel Embiid and how your offense is contingent upon his success, that's not a small thing. So those two things, as much as maybe they're kind of, little nuanced kind of things, they're a pretty big deal, and that's another part of his game that he has over Matisse right now.
Damn you, Paul Hudrick. I didn't even think of that. That's why I have you on there, my friend. That's why I have you on.
I try.
Paul Hudrick, check him out. Liberty Ballers. Follow him on the old social media. Follow him on Twitter, of course. And one of the latest dads to the Philadelphia area, Paul Hudrick, Liberty Ballers. Paulie, thank you so much, brother. Great catching up with you.
Anytime, Mark. You got it, man.
All right. From all of us here at the Farzy Show, congratulate the missus for us, too. All right.
I will do. Thank you.
All right, brother. Paul Hudrick joining us from Liberty Ballers on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Always great. Always great catching up with Paulie. And how about that? You're like triple the amount of players you can be traded for essentially today. So it could happen. Maybe today's the day Ben Simmons finally gets traded. I see all the comments regarding Ben Simmons and mental health and can a trade cure him and all that. And, we'll find out, people. We will find out. How about that? Thanks again to Paul Hudrick, Liberty Ballers, jumping on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Talk to us about all things 76ers. And you know what? How about the people of Rothman Orthopaedics? I went there yesterday. I got the official diagnosis for my shoulder. Thank you, Rothman. Pinched nerve. Oh, God, it hurt like hell. Not at Rothman. It did. And then I saw Rothman. They got me going. They diagnosed it. Took x-rays yesterday for me. Woof. Basically, I never saw a pinched nerve before, but the x-rays, the doctor's like, okay, see the space here in your neck in between these discs, whatever they're called? The doctor was talking. I don't speak doctor. He's like, look at the space here. Look at the space here. See how there's no space right there? That's the pinched nerve. Owie! So it looks like I'm headed to physical therapy because I'm old as balls. Okay? So there you go. Physical therapy for moi. But you know what? Let me tell you about Rothman Orthopaedics. When you have an orthopedic, take two. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you could have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and 76ers. How about the people of BetQL? If you want to get the advantage over your sportsbook, you need to download the BetQL app, the only app you'll need to make the smart bets. Their best bets computer model scans over everything from 350,000 unique bets per year. They give you the best bet recommendation for every game across all major sports, and they give you the reasoning behind why you should place that bet. Their model covers everything from point spreads, over-unders, player props as well. And if you don't want to use their model and prefer to do your own research, BetQL has all the necessary tools for your betting research needs. Everything from sharp data, line movement, team summaries, lineups, injuries, breaking news. They even have a leaderboard for you to track your own success. Head to the App Store or Google Play Store now to download the BetQL app. How about our friends, ladies and gentlemen, at PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. Make sure you're following everything for your latest Eagles news, Sixers news as well. Everything across Philadelphia sports, PHLSportsNation.com. How are the people to WinView? Oh, buddy. Hit a couple of WinView bets last night, a couple of props. Julius Randle, 21.5 over. Hit last night. What else did I have? Fred VanVleet, over 6.5 assists, over hit. Thank you very much, WinView. Right there. You can check out all amazing props at WinView. Make sure you download the WinView app right now. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where you can win some real money prizes of your own, or you could challenge a friend and see if they can walk the walk as well as they tuck the tuck in the world of sports. You have a friend that thinks they know more than you in sports? Challenge into a WinView contest and see if they can walk that walk, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe a little Monday Night Football, a little Thursday Night Football coming up. Tracking those games on Sunday. WinView contest is all you need. Not a sports book, not daily fantasy, a social gaming app where you can win real money prizes for making predictions on the games that you love so much. So check out WinView. Download the app right now. WinView. It is a good time. Let's jump on right now. Our chat check, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my goodness gracious. Things are popping, folks. Things are popping. A lot of comments to get through today. First off, for anyone that's joining us a little bit late in the live version of the program, we started the show twice today. Once it went on YouTube, it went on Twitter, it went on Twitch, and then was booted. We got booted for some reason. I don't know. But we're back. We're back, and we're making things happen. Good morning, Kevin. Nice to see you. April, good morning. Dan, good morning. Hopefully Paul's new look today is the guy that looks like he knows Ben Simmons will be traded. And good morning. Good morning, Dan. Flyer Stanley Cup, baby. April, what if there's no show? They just set this up so we can all talk to each other. I would do that. Like, for those that don't know, my wife is expecting, which means I'm expecting. And we're expecting in late January. Although this is our second, and we're feeling like, oh, this is going to be a little early. This kid's coming early. We're having a boy. We're so stoked. We're so excited. And it's like, what do I do in the early days of having the baby home? And, you know, obviously a 2-kid household then all of a sudden. So, like, what do we do? And I'm like, well, my wife's like, you're going to take 2 weeks off, right? And I'm like, why would I do that to my audience? I can't do that to them. They wake up at 6 a.m. They're jumping on the chat with me. We're talking. We're convincing. We're hobnobbing a little bit. I can't just not do a show. So, like, it might be half-hour shows, something like that. But we're still feeling it out. But, yeah, even if I do have to miss a show here or there, we'll make sure we set up the chat so everyone can stay in touch. Let's see here. Still a reminder show on the YouTube page, which is weird. Hopefully that's gone away. April, let's see. PJ saves the day. You're right, April. Mally, 6 goals last night. So that means 1-0 goals next game. And that's what I'm talking about by playing the Habs. When they play the Habitants tomorrow night, I want to make sure that offense stays hot. Don't play down to your opponent. John Cheeseborough, Sealski and the Thumbs have struck. All right, you guys. I know it comes up later in the chat, but let me just see if I can get into this right now. I watch the Action News, all right? I watch the Action News, and John and some of you, some of the other guys, you all were like, hey, look at Cecily Tynan's thumbs. So I looked at Cecily Tynan's thumbs. I've never looked at Cecily Tynan's thumbs for 2 reasons. One, I'm watching the weather. The other reason, she's a very pretty lady. I'm not a thumb guy, all right? I don't know if you guys are thumb guys. I don't really look at thumbs. I don't even know if my wife has thumbs. You know, I don't think about it. Anyway, so I'm on Cecily Tynan, and I'm looking at her thumbs, and yes, they freak me out. However, she has nice thumbs. I'll die on defending Cecily Tynan's thumbs. Okay, I'll die on that hill. Because here's what I'll argue. The green screen behind her, when you have, how do I say this? When you're showing your fingers or narrow extremities, they look even more narrow and awkward in front of the green screen. That's what I believe it is. Plus, she's got nails. That's what I noticed. I broke this down. I zaprudered this because I wanted to give a fair representation here. And I have determined that on TV, yes, the thumb looks weird. However, real life, gorgeous thumbs. Beautiful thumbs. I have no doubt. No doubt whatsoever. It's all the green screen. Narrowing things. I'm telling you. JC went down a rabbit hole on the thumb lady. Now she's the thumb lady. She's been giving us the weather for 20 plus years in this city. And now she's the thumb lady. You chatters. What do we got here? Anyway, that takes care of that. Sealskin and the thumbs have struck. Good morning, all. Went down to Sealskin. Thank you, Pizza Geeks. What? What? Pizza Geeks? All right, welcome to the show. You guys are nuts. Marc, welcome to the show. Marc, I haven't seen your name. Welcome aboard. Marc Zines, what's popping? If I could, would you? Very true, PJ, pure gold. I'm just a regular geek, but I do enjoy pizza. All right, there you go. There you go, Dan. John, there was some gold in the chat before the chat. This is a very poppin' chat today. Ooh, if I could, would you? One button equals, geez Louise. One button equals business casual, Farzy. Two buttons equals OnlyFans, Farzy. Oh, you're welcome. Drink it in. One of these days, I'm just going to come back from the guest. I'm just going to have my shirt off. Because usually that's when the button conversation starts up. Light color shirt, got the chest out today. We got OnlyFans Farzy today. Thank you, Mally. John Cheeseborough, I even typed out Farzi's chat check sound while he scrolls through the chat. My da-da-dee-da-da-da, that thing that thing that I do. That is a takeoff of Letterman and Paul Schaefer. When Letterman used to grab the phone and put it on the desk and go, "Hey Paul, can you give me some good dialing music?" And Paul would be like, and then yeah. You got any gum? That was a ripoff of Norm Macdonald's David Letterman, Miss Cousy. Marc seeing Cecily Tottenham's thumb scared the hair off the top of his head. He had to put in the overtime to shave it. Of Farzy is a different website? Oh, OnlyFans Farzy is a different website. Sports talk just got a whole lot sexier. No more rock, paper, scissors after the bye week. It's go fish time. I like that. If I could, would you? I bet you had button number 3 undone, and then YouTube broke it up and said explicit content. Not necessarily. Put button 3 back in place, and presto, we're live. There you go. Jeez. Mally, looking at Cecily Tottenham's thumbs only got me more scared to look at my own thumbs. If you're in front of a green screen, you have to be worried. But she's a lovely lady, and I'm sure she has beautiful thumbs. Mally, Marc started the show with the shirt more open, and Mrs. Farzy said, slow your roll. That's why the show started late. I like the theories. Inside the Birds, what's going on? Open the shirt, very light blue. Eagles win, go Birds. Sean, I like that. Mike, how do we know it's his kid? What the hell? Did we get a paternity test? I'll ask Paul if you got a paternity test. Jim Jackson's goatee, Paul Hudrick's man bun versus Sealski and Jalen Rager in a steel cage match. John, I'd pay to watch it for charity. New babysitting client for PJ, Larry. Marc Zines, 90 seconds is long for some of us, Marc. That's you, buddy. Mally, just wait for Paul to say, well, we'll know Mean Gene. There it is right there. Luigi, I don't hate anyone as much as Farzy hates Tobias. I don't hate Tobias. I love Tobias Harris. I just wish he was a lot better. Is that too much to ask? In a game where you don't have Joel Embiid, you don't have Seth Curry. Oh, hey, Tobias is going to step up. I'd like to see like 30-point scores. Because I think 30-point score is like 20 points per game. A lot of people can do that in the NBA, obviously. But like a 30-point score is a guy that has taken over a game, really helped take over a game. And I wonder how many he's had versus other like max player deals, that type of deal. I want to see what that happens. Farzy loves global warming. Luigi, you got me pegged. Hope Zach Lowe is right. Me too. Trade Ben's mental health. Impressive if it does. Will a trade fix Ben's mental health? Impressive as if it does. Dan, you're not wrong. I mean, I see a lot of people with mental health issues going to their employer and just be like, you know what? Just trade me. That'll cure me. Zion also willing to eat for Ben too. Yeah, Zion. Whoa, buddy. I mean, I was talking about pancakes and glazed hams earlier in the week. Zion, man, I know you got the ankle injury. Find another way to do cardio, friend. There's no way anybody see what Ben's done and not say he only did all of this to protect his money. Yep. Farzy spitting bars. I even forget what I was saying. Paulie Huds. I like that, JD Harrison. Huddy. I like that, Dan. Paulie Wallhuds. Like that, John Cheeseborough. I feel like Huds is a big Star Wars guy. Definitely. I won't tell you otherwise because he is. I can go ahead and confirm that. Green Screen Narrow, I think, is a new version of Water is Cold. April, I just watched that Seinfeld with Shrinkage. And I'll say this again. With it being on Netflix and me being like pushing 40, it's like I'm amazed. Like the Shrinkage episode I watched when I was like 12 years old. And like you just have this distorted sense of time from your youth. And it's like, oh, I thought I was like, 17, 18 when I watched that. Not even close. Loving the button chat. How do you not? Johnny Cheese, high five. That's you, buddy. April, I'm glad you enjoyed that. Alex, what's happening far as season? Matt, what's going on? Zion is Trey Thomas. In face? Are you saying they look alike? I don't see that. I gotta get Trey on anyway. I've been meaning to do that to see how this goes. This whole thing goes down. Rager Mortis. Nice touch there, Dan. Nice. Sean, thumbs are actually being addressed on a sports show. This show is the best. Thank you so much. Sean, we talk about the real issues here. Whether that's wearing a mask at the Wells Fargo Center or that's thumbs. Thumbs. What's that movie? With the guy in the thing? What's that movie? Eric Roberts, the other guy, and the other people. What's it called? Pomegranate Village. Somebody told me I had to watch that movie, and I did. And it was the scene where, what the freaking hell is his name? Julia Roberts' brother. He comes out and he's like, they took my thumbs. They took my thumbs. I think the guy's name's Tommy. Tommy, they took my thumbs. Like when I watched that, I was like, is this acting? What's happening? This is a comedy. And I was out. This is weird moments like that make you out on movies. That was certainly one of them. Thanks for participating in the chat. I'm now seeing myself in the monitor doing the Eric Roberts. They took my thumbs. Anyway, all that because we were talking about thumbs. Thanks everyone for participating in the chat. Great catching up with you on our chat check. Much obliged. Seth, I did it again. Steph Curry addressed the media yesterday after he broke the record from Ray Allen. This is our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Steph Curry addressed the media after last night's game where they beat the Knicks. He set the three-point record. He had 5 threes in the game, set the record overall for all-time NBA threes hit, hugged his father, hugged Ray Allen. Jesus Shuttlesworth was there. That was great. It was a beautiful moment. It was great. And we're watching a guy that changed the game for the foreseeable future. And I respect the hell out of Steph Curry. And last night set the record. After the game, he was asked about it. Hey, when people say who's the greatest shooter, is it you?
I got that, baby.
How do you say no? I mean, Ray Allen was the greatest shooter I had ever seen. Like the most clutch, great shooter ever, except when he was with the Bucks and lost to the Sixers in the playoffs. But other than that, he's the money guy. He's the clutch guy. Reggie Miller certainly on that list for me as well, just in terms of guys that I experienced their entire careers. And Steph Curry is just a different breed. He's a different animal. He has changed the game. The game used to be played above the rim. Now it's played from beyond the arc. And that's what Steph Curry's contribution to the game is. And there's no doubt, greatest shooter in the history of this game. I don't think there's any question. I don't think there's any conversation about it. He is the greatest shooter to ever play the game. And to see him break that record last night was nothing short of amazing. And also for me to hit my over on the 21.5 with the Julius Randle guy. So, yeah, good for me. Hey, Steph Curry. We're both winners. Last night we were both winners. Anyway, also I wanted to give this to you as well. Cam Atkinson after the game got the hat trick. This is what he said to the media after the game about what's different from the last time they played the Devils when they got blown out to this time blowing out the Devils. What's different under the new coaching regime with Mike Yeo?
You hit it. The structure. It's trusting your teammates. It's not hoping that the puck's going to come to you or cheating for the offense. It's playing the right way, playing hard, reloading, back checking, having good sticks, creating turnovers, and capitalizing, on that transition play. And some people might not like that game, but when you all buy in, good things happen, and it's exciting to play. I personally like the way that style, and we're getting rewarded for it now. But I think most importantly, just capitalizing on our opportunities.
There you go. Capitalize on your opportunities. Trust your teammates. Structure. The more I talk to people that are much more in the know with the Flyers than I am, it got to a point with Alain Vigneault, and I'm not saying this is a good thing. I mean, the guy, had been to 2 Stanley Cups, 2 different teams, and then we all know that. It got to a point with Alain Vigneault where guys are just going through the motions, and that includes AV as well, where he wasn't in guys' faces necessarily anymore in a encouraging or critiquing manner. It was more of just, all right, here we are, we're here, there's ice, why don't you guys go skate around? All right, I'm gonna go get a coffee. It was like, it was disinterest is what it was. And out with him, in with Yo. And it looks like these guys are starting to make things happen again. And hopefully this is just the start of something great. Hopefully these 3 games are just the start of the real turnaround and the Flyers become something special after that. So I hope that happens. I hope that's exactly what happens. But it looked like now that you have a head coach that looks interested in coaching again, I think things have changed a lot. And when you talk about structure, like, structure should never be a compliment. Like, structure should just be the expected thing in all of sports. When there is no structure, that's when things fall apart. With Cam Atkinson going right out there and saying structure as the biggest difference, that's very telling of AV. That's very, very telling in the last couple of days of AV. Yes, I do have a Farzy Show mug. It is official. That's true. I would love to have a button-down shirt line on Costco. I know my wife would buy it because she loves Costco, and her family introduced me to Costco. By the way, real quick on Costco, did you ever notice that whenever people talk about Costco, they always talk about, like, they say Costco like it's a magic trick? I know I've done this riff before, but it's like, oh, man, this chicken pot pie is fantastic, which it is. This chicken pot pie is fantastic. Costco! Ta-da! Hey, where'd you get these beats? Costco! Ta-da! Hey, nice pants! Costco! Beautiful wife! Costco! Your second child, Walmart. You know what I'm saying? That's the deal. There you go. We have seen this before. Talk to me after 20. Mopar, have we seen this? I hope. I mean, here's the thing. Usually the Flyers play well early. The last couple of years play well early, suck late. And vast majority of the season. They don't really have that mid-game, that mid-season spurt. Hopefully that's more than what we're seeing right now. Thanks everyone that's watched. Thanks everyone that listened. Thanks everyone that commented. Thanks everyone that follows the show. Make sure you hit subscribe on that old YouTube channel. And I had a blast with you guys as per usual. Thanks so much. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a phenomenal job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Thanks to Paul Hudrick. Thank you, April. Second child's always a gangsta. I have no doubt. People are like, is your daughter excited to be a big sister? She's just excited to be somebody's boss, is what she is. Like, my wife and I are already like she's very much in charge a lot of the time, and the dad's got to come in, put his foot down, say, all right, Toots. All right, little Toots. This is what's what. I'll give you a what for. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Break it down. Eagles, Washington. Will be a Thursday football show, followed by a Friday football show. Also, Sixers play the Heat tonight, 7 o'clock tip-off. Hopefully, the Sixers jump right back. We'll see how that one goes. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow. See you later. Bye.